off the back of somebody else's tragedy.
Wow.
Not bad, huh?
So what's with the stage? Have you forgotten what kind of movie we're making?
Set. Action.
Lord have mercy.
All kinds of messed up stuff happened when they were making movies like The Omen or The Exorcist. And the guy your dad replaced? Everything's cursed.
With my father's voice.
Tony, it's okay. You're okay, all right?
How did I get out of here?
So you're blacking out again? What is it this time?
This is something else.
He's off his meds. He's erratic. Father, what do I do?
I was saved once. Didn't believe that it could happen again.
Can he be saved?
It's not worth saving, and you know it.
I know you're afraid. Me too. It's all right to be afraid. Have faith. He will protect his children. When it happens, run.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for The Exorcism, arriving in theaters on June 21st. It's your boy KP. This is Nerds Rule the World, and to talk all things The Exorcism, I have my pal Heather Hurt. How are you, Heather?
Good. I forgot to bring up my cast list, so I'm totally not doing some work to try and figure out who everyone is on the side.
No worries. Well, let's do what we do. We talk a little bit about the story as well as the cast, and then we get into our review. So I'll do a little bit of the story, and then since you have the IMDb up and I don't, I'll let you do the cast, and then we'll get into our thoughts. As you saw from the trailer, we have Russell Crowe. He's an older actor who is dealing with some life troubles, and he gets cast in a film that's very Exorcist-like. For those familiar with the Exorcist franchise, he gets cast into this project. His daughter, who is away at college, is on probation, I think, right now. So she becomes a PA to her dad while he's working on this film. And as he's working on this film, some shenanigans occur. Some what do you call it when you get taken over? Like possession occurs.
Wow, you totally hold on.
Some things occur. I didn't say that. But some weird things occur while he's working on the set. And well, you saw from the trailer, you saw some weird stuff happening with Russell Crowe. So some things happen, shenanigans happen. And yeah, that's your film, y'all. So older actor working on a set, shenanigans occur, and things proceed from there. And what happens, we don't know, or you'll find out. But we got some things to talk about. I got some background story as well when we get into the review portion. But there's your story. Let me toss it to Heather because I'm messing up again, as I do sometimes. I give a little too much away.
When someone is possessed, I think that's what you were trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sitting here going, huh? Possession. So we really want to emphasize this because my husband was also confused when I said that I was watching an exorcism movie about Russell Crowe. This is not the Pope's Exorcist. It is not the movie that he already did where he played a pope. He's playing an actor who's playing a pope. Totally not confusing in any way, shape, or form. So Russell Crowe plays Anthony Miller, who is a kind of a lost actor who kind of fell to the drugs, women, and sex of Hollywood after his wife got cancer. There's more to it. That's kind of just the basis of it. So he's trying to get back into the film industry as this Pope character. Ryan Simpkins plays Lee Miller, his daughter. Sam Worthington plays Joe. Chloe Bailey, which I was actually surprised about. I did not realize that was Chloe Bailey until like she came on screen. I was just like, that's Chloe Bailey. Like,
yeah.
What is she doing in this movie? Like, Adam Goldberg plays Peter. Adrian Pastar plays Tom, and David Hyde Pierce plays Father Connor. Huge cast and crew. Joshua John Miller is the director in the movie, is from M.A. Fortin and Joshua John Miller. It's actually it's a very large cast for how small we actually get. Not a lot. It's very you see a lot of faces, but very few talking lines. So this is a very like consolidated film. Like it's not huge plot points, extended storylines. It's very connected, if that makes sense. So
there you go. Thank you, Heather. So what's crazy is we also recently just did the trailer reaction for, actually we didn't do a trailer reaction. We just did it as part of our weekly show on the NRW. This kind of film kind of came out of nowhere for us both. So I was pleasantly surprised about this film because again, it came out of nowhere, and just, we've seen a lot of horror films. You know, we get a lot of indie horror films here at the NRW. It felt like something we'd seen before, and like, hence Heather's, breakdown. We've seen Russell Crowe in a very similar horror style film. And so like, is this the same film or what? But watching the trailer as we did our weekly, I'm like, okay, it's a different take. And so I was very curious about this film before I screened it, just how it is, how the plot is laid out, and is kind of mirroring The Exorcist, which is a horror classic. We all know The Exorcist. We actually record out of the NRW. The NRW is based out of the Washington, D.C. area, so we're very close to the Georgetown steps. We're very close to the home. Actually, I have one of my Strange World vlogs of location stuff on those steps. I recorded that. That's on the channel right now. Go check it out, as well as the house. So yeah, we're very familiar with The Exorcist here in the DC area. And yeah, so that intrigued me because of just how it kind of was constructed. So very curious leading into it. So that was my lead in. How about you, Heather?
Same. From a conceptual point of view, it's playing on the trope that bad things happen on set. And we've seen it. If you can look up almost any of the major cult classic exorcism movies, and there is someone who died in a weird way at some point, and it's usually multiple someones. So I really enjoyed the concept of this, just going into it. Like, I liked that idea of they are going straight into the fun that is the rumor mill of Hollywood. They're not even like going into the actual movie. They're just straight up playing on rumor. I liked that.
Definitely. All right. So after we did our weekly, your boy looked into his emails because, we talk to all these studios all the time. Apparently, I missed the input from the studios saying, hey, NRW, we'd like for you to check this out, check the film out, and talk to the creative team. As of this recording, I haven't spoken with the creative team yet, but we do have that set up very soon. But they gave me some information about the film, and this kind of added to my screening when I finally watched it. The writers on this are, as Heather mentioned earlier, Joshua John Miller, as well as M.A. Fortin. They co-wrote and co-directed this film. They are a queer couple. So some of the queer representation you see in the film is somewhat based off of them. But the storyline itself is based off of Joshua John Miller's growing up. His father was actor Jason Miller, who played the iconic role of Father Karras in The Exorcist. So apparently, while he was working on The Exorcist, he shared a lot of these tales of different things happening on set to his son, so much so that it helped inspire him to write this film along with his partner, M.A. Fortin. And so with that being said, I took that interesting knowledge. I was like, oh, wow, So this is kind of based on true events film to a degree. Obviously Hollywoodized for its release and everything, and a lot of new elements added. But I was like, okay, I feel that. And as a creative filmmaker myself, having been on sets, I'm like, oh, I like all these cool things because I can relate to it. So screening the film now to our review. It has its moments, but there's also a lot of moments where it drags, and it's awkward. I don't know if I like Russell Crowe in this. He can definitely be a father, a priest in this, but there's just, I don't know. I couldn't understand him at certain points. He's kind of just aloof. Heather might feel a different way, but I don't know. I just didn't connect with him. I didn't care for him being possessed. He seemed like a bad father, but he also went through rehab. He's trying to be a better father, but there was just this weird, I didn't feel for the person I'm supposed to be going on this journey with, and then him and his relationship with his daughter. And then there's this weird relationship with his daughter played by Ryan Simpkins and Chloe Bailey out of nowhere, and how they get together. And then there's just this weird violent scene towards the end when something happens that there's just pointed out a discussion about the being LGBTQ that just was awkward, but it seemed like frustration from a writer of something he probably grew up with and heard and seen and experienced, which, hey, I'm all for, getting your feelings and vibes out in the scripts, but it didn't all play all that very well. And then the ending, we also didn't point out David Hyde Pierce, who is a phenomenal actor as well. Loved him back in the day on Frasier. He then comes into play with being another priest on set, and it's just, I don't know, the climax just was kind of awkward and weird for me. I'm still trying to get my feelings together on this film. And as I was telling Heather before we got going, it might be a bad film. I don't want to say it's a bad film, but there's just things that didn't connect with me. And yeah. How about you, Heather?
I have a statement that I make a lot. I make it primarily about the Green Lantern movie. But something I say frequently is a great writer can bring up a terribly acted film. Great actors cannot bring up moderately written films. This movie had some great ideas and the concept is really cool, but the writing was just not strong. The cinematography, honestly, the cinematography was actually kind of lame. It was just, there were weird panning moments, and some of the language, I won't deny the scene that Kuya just brought up about the kind of the queer baiting a little bit. It was very awkward, and that's because of the relationship specifically built by Russell Crowe and Ryan Simpkins from a father-daughter relationship. It was just a really weird thing to hear. And it's like that's kind of creepy. It was more creepy in the gross emotional way than creepy in the ghouly creepy way. What's even worse is that there was one of the things that I actually really conceptually, once again, lots of conception that I kind of liked, was the relationship between Joe, who is the director of this horror movie that they're putting on, and how he completely destroys Anthony Miller, Russell Crowe's character's performance. So what you get just this devastation of acting upon acting, and it puts this really weird, awkward layer in there that you're like, why didn't he like that performance? I don't understand, because there was never an explanation of what he didn't like. And that's one thing that I really liked, that Russell Crowe's character, he did ask multiple times, like, tell me what I'm doing wrong, do this. Give us an answer. Like, there was so many moments where it was just like, why is this happening? What's going on? And you never get that follow through. It's a solid 1 hour and 30-minute film, but there are moments that could have been replaced with more well-rounded scenes. There was stuff that is not needed. Like, I really love the fact that they had queer representation in this, that you saw Ryan Simpkins' character fall in love and be happy. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't play into the story. It's just this weird other thing happening.
Just to have that moment, yo.
It really
just to have that moment.
And that's the thing. I also wonder if some of these moments weren't included. Like, if that one moment where what happened, where the queer baiting didn't happen, I think I would have been okay with this a lot more. It just, that moment made the other moment weird. And you just can't bring up good writing, no matter the quality of your or bad writing, no matter the quality of your actors. Which is actually, if you go watch our partnered review with this on Thelma, we talk about writing too. And there is a difference between mediocre writing with positives and mediocre writing with negatives. This movie, I am a jumpy little scaredy cat. Almost anything makes me jump. This movie was so outpaced. It was so mediocre in the writing. Nothing. I saw one reviewer say, he said, this movie was completely over. The only positive was the jump scares. There was nothing jump scary about this movie to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea of the film. Like, I'm curious when I finally sit down with the writers on this, their thoughts. And I love that, they have this opportunity to get their material out, as creatives, you love to see people talk on things, but just, I don't know, it wasn't solid though. Like, I think they needed to work on quite a few things to get this film out. It didn't get saved by this cast. Question for you, Heather. There's a lot of least favorite moments for me, but one that's really sticking out because, again, everything we saw on this trailer, when I was like looking at the cast, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be great. But then I was disappointed. But like, I hate when you put a person in just to maybe have a name added. But like Sam Worthington, former Terminator. There's a scene in this film that we get, but like, he's not a lot in there throughout, and then gone. Just unnecessary. Great scene to a degree in regards to what happens, but it's just like, that was just like another big least favorite moment that I'm thinking of, because it's just, you put somebody on and then they're gone, and it just feels like a waste. Do you have any of those, or do you feel, is there one that sticks out for you, or do you have is there one good thing that you really enjoyed about this project?
You want the very honest truth is, the first 15 or so minutes up until basically the party. I'm not gonna say anything more. There's a party that leads into production. Up until that moment, which I think is like the first 20 or 25 minutes, it's actually a pretty decent movie. It's almost like when they added the demon elements to it is when it got a little weird. And reality, my least favorite moment was the most possessed moment of the movie. You see things happen, and then the next moment, they're not there. There's just no completion. I wish I could say more. I don't want to spoil. I would like people to see this movie because I want to know your opinions. Because are we horror elitists? Like, are we saying something that's completely invalid? Because there was a moment with Russell Crowe's character, and I'm like, this is some badass shit. This demon's really getting up there, and then it's like, nothing. Stop.
Yeah. With all that said, as I've been thinking about this film and our pending review of this, Heather, while I have my own feelings on it, I know a lot of super deep Exorcist fans, and I think they may dig this. While my taste be different, I think they may dig this, and because of like the story elements behind it. The thing I love most about this film, and again, when I can't wait to talk to the writers, although the writing on this was horrible, and again, I think it should have been revised and reworked, I still love the concept of the film, which we both fell in love with the trailer. There's a film here. It just didn't go, it just wasn't complete. And that's what hurts me the most, as to talk negative about the film. I love this concept. It just didn't get fully realized to its the final result. But I think there's something there that I think fans will dig, especially those Exorcist fans. there is some good acting in parts through it. So I'm recommending to that, but it's a film that I would have to say you can pass if you want to. Because we Heather and I talked about this, and if you see this on our recent reviews, we're trying to do more of this. So shout out to Heather. Whether you should see it in theaters or at home, I think horror movies are best in theaters, which is what also makes this difficult. But then it's a movie I would say you can pass on to save money and see it at home. So I'm gonna throw that to you now, Heather. But that's gonna be kind of like my thing now as we talk about these films in our reviews. Is like there's something about, to me, and I don't know if you feel the same way about it. Horrors is great with an audience and in a theater, and so that's why like I would recommend that. But this is also a film I'm passing because I've had the pleasure of seeing it. But you know, if people are trying to save their money, yeah. How about you, Heather?
Absolutely. And that's something that definitely needs to be taken into account. Like horror movies, but there's also certain horror movies that are more fun in audiences. I'm going to use the example. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. Today, as recording it, is the day after Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth, everyone. Juneteenth was probably one of the most fun comedy horrors that I've seen in forever. I still love the crap out of that movie. And we also saw Scream together, where there are certain elements of an audience when it comes to certain types of horror that are just they just make the movie a little bit better. You're laughing along, you're freaking out along, you have that one person who has to make commentary the entire time, and it's only okay in horror movies. But it's one of those where I'm also one of those people where I'm a fraidy cat, so I enjoy seeing horror movies at home because I can control how my body and my reactions are. But I wouldn't the only times I would actively suggest other people do that is for movies like this, where it's like there's some good in it, but is it worth a $22 ticket? And I don't think, and the thing is where the benefit of an audience reaction will not be in this movie. It will not be in this movie.
All right. There's the last words. Do we need to be exercised? I don't know, but we're just giving our true feelings as we always do. Heather, thank you for your thoughts. Man, there you go. Exorcism. Stay tuned. Possible interview dropping on the channel once we get it all scheduled. That's why I'm saying possible, with the writers M.A. Fortin as well as Joshua John Miller. I'm looking forward to talking to them, to find out the inspiration. I think they had a great concept. Maybe they can approach this again down the line, but this one I don't think it fully hit the demon where it needed to, as it were. All right, Heather Hurt, your boy Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. Let's talk all things Exorcism in the comments below.